Hello and welcome back to our life. Today we are doing family and escapade. So, let's dive right on in. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house, and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you, some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk about a musical she had gone to see a few days ago. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts, and it was all done live right in front of my face. Maybe we could go together. I've got to see more shows like that. You smiled at Lee's enthusiasm, knowing how much he enjoys singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You got the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. You also like to sing and had talent of your own. It was nice the two of you could share that interest. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show. Think how fun it would be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch it too. It'd totally work. Yes, let's do it! You actually thought about doing something like that before, but never had the chance to. Lee clapped in excitement and bounced on the balls of her feet, beyond happy that you were on board with her idea. I'm gonna sing. You want to too, or maybe do something else? I'll play an instrument. The violin. That'll be perfect! Is there anything else that comes to your mind instead? One more thing. I'll dance. Okay, we can pick an upbeat song. That way it'll be easier for you to move. Is there anything else that's come to your head? One more thing. I'll do the makeup. Good idea. You'll be great at that. Literally, my character's never done makeup before, but, you know, or at least never picked up the makeup option before. How the hell did Archie manage to get my sock? My sock's on the floor. I don't look chewed yet. It was like, high up away from him. Yeah, I'll just do. I think that'll make an amazing show. You've got things pretty covered. The two of you ran back to your house to grab the supplies you needed, dodging your mum's amused questions before heading back out to the blanket to get started. You set your makeup kit down, scanning the various products and envisioning how you wanted the design to look for the show. You and Lee discussed the plans and details, settling on a song first, then practicing out the parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, the sun dropping lower and lower. Actually, I've got a better idea. I'll do some kind of stunt that goes to the music. Oh, a daredevil. I can't wait to see what you come up with. I think that'll make an amazing show. You've got things pretty covered. The two of you ran back to your house and grabbed the supplies you needed, dodging your mom's amused questions before heading back out to the blanket to get started. You'd grabbed your bicycle helmet and a pair of knee pads to protect yourself, and quickly strapped those on. Lee and you discussed the plans in detail, settling on a song first, then practicing out parts for the show. The afternoon passed quickly, the sun dropping lower and lower in the sky. Having thoroughly worked on how the show was going to go, you decided to take a break. Oh! You know, we should have invited Cove to watch us practice at our show. He could tell if it's bad before we put on the real thing. That's smart. We should ask him to watch us later. Okay. Straight back, Derek is in the neighborhood today. I like him. I really like him too. I knew you would. So, how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else that I haven't heard of yet? Lee wriggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. I have a crush, yeah. Lee sparkled in an instant, like she just hit the jackpot. What? Who is it? Wait, what? It's Derek. Real. Oh, that's so cute. And I think he likes you too. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details. You answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you liked and stuff. You found it was nice having someone to speak with about these sorts of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Lee talked excitedly about the show that you did, and you thought back on what you'd already accomplished for it. You could definitely do with a little more practice, but what you had so far was a solid foundation for the performance.
Self-voicing enabled. Self-voicing disabled.
You've accidentally hit V. The spacebar. Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what, you weren't sure. The look between them said nothing.
Oh.
Hi, Callie. Hello, Lee. Welcome back. The room felt quiet again, with no one quite knowing what to say. It felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Elizabeth was mad with her arms folded defensively over her chest, but your moms nodded in agreement with her.
Well...
Elizabeth was asking about her parents, the biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand why this was happening now. When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister. The details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you'd accidentally stumbled into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past, but we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took in a deep breath before speaking again. I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shot upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here? No, you weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled with what to do or how to react. Am I gonna have to pass some tests to even be a citizen? No, you were adopted into the country. We took care of things. You were already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing the child into the US. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, was placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who are my parents as people? Why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulders, trying to provide some support before she gave her answer.
I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. I wish we had bad news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions. Eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, staring on enraged. Great! So I can never meet them even if I wanted to. Not that I could have, anyway, since they lived in another part of the world when they were alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your mums and stormed off, sprinting up the stairs to her room before anyone could stop her. I have to go and talk to her. Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom held her by the arm. But Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your ma's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee was still standing awkwardly off to the side. I am sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since this is the topic of the day, Callie, anything you would like to ask? You deserve to know after all. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. I want to know. Your parents both nodded in sync to your reply where if you should talk. I can leave if you want to have things be private. I need to be here. I can do that. Lee shifted a little closer to you in support, and you were glad to have her there with you. It made you feel a little stronger somehow. When you turned to face your parents again, preparing yourself for what they were about to tell you, Matt was the first one to speak. Her voice quivered with emotion. You were adopted as a baby, but 2 years after Elizabeth. You used a different organization at that time, and you were adopted within the US. We're sorry to tell you, Callie. Your parents had also passed away, and no other family member took you in. There were any. That's why we wanted to wait until you asked. We didn't want to suddenly drop that in your lap. We wanted you to be prepared.
I'm sorry.
We're sorry, Callie. Lee gave you a reassuring squeeze on the arm to show that she was there for you. Thank you for telling me. I did want to know, and now I do. Thank you for listening, Callie. If there's anything else you want to know, all you have to do is ask. We'll do our best to answer any questions you have.
Are you okay?
How are you feeling? Are you going to be okay? Lee watched you closely, as though judging how exactly she should react to what's going on. I feel fine. You spoke with a refreshed tone, as though you had a load off. Your mom smiled sadly, but you knew they believed you. No one seemed to have any words after that. You needed to stay here with your moms. You took a step closer to your moms, glancing at them nervously. You wanted to show them somehow that all of this wasn't their fault. The last thing you wanted them to feel was sad about it. Are you okay? Your mom smiled at you softly, a little thrown off by the question.
Well,
We're only as good as you are now, right now. You're a sweet child, Callie, being concerned for your moms like that. It's sad hearing that they died, but I guess because I didn't know them, it doesn't upset me. You're my family. You've always have been. Matt came over and wrapped her arms around you, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mum to join in, putting her arms around the both of you. We really couldn't have asked for a better kiddo. We love you, Callie. More than we could ever say. You're so glad your mums were alright. I love you too. You let them hug you as long as they needed. It was a nice moment shared between you. They both pulled away eventually and grinned at you. You knew then that you all had each other. And you always would. A knock on the door had you all snapping your heads towards it for a moment, before you exchanged confused looks. Matt pulled herself together with a deep breath and headed over to answer it, while you hung back with Mom in the living room. You could hear bits and pieces of a conversation at the door, and Matt addressed the guest happily. You strained your ears to hear more.
hello.
Hello, Cove, sweetie. I see you come for a visit. Yeah. Oh, hello. Yeah. Is Kelly here? Matt glanced back over her shoulder at you to gauge your reaction and see if you were up for a guest. When you nodded your head, she turned back to Cove with a smile. They're right here. Come on in. Thanks, Miss Wolf. Cove stepped into the house, giving you a wave upon seeing everyone standing around. His eyebrows dipped a little.
Are you okay?
Is everything okay? Things seem kind of off. You laughed. It didn't take long before the others were giggling with you, though Cove was looking more confused than ever. With a hand, you indicated him to follow you to the living room. You sat together with Cove on the couch while your moms and Lee headed off to give the two of you some privacy, and you explained to him what had just happened. It took a little while to relay all the information, but Cove listened intently and nodded the whole time. Hey! A voice made you look up, and you saw your sister standing on the bottom of the stairs. She walked closer, and you didn't quite know what to do, or what she was planning on saying.
So?
Would you mind going? I just want to talk to Callie. You can come back. It's not going to be forever or anything. Cove seemed equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. I want to talk to you too.
Really?
Oh, then we're on the same page. She made a little move-along gesture with her hands, and it was settled. Wait until the two of you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did Mom tell you about your parents too? My both parents also died. Elizabeth broke eye contact after that.
Sorry.
Sorry. Why'd you want to talk to me? Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the question, as though the answer should have been obvious. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upwards for a moment before settling on you once more. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our neck. I'm not mad at you. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me.
Hey.
How are you allowed to be that mature? The lighting spirits in her were quickly gone, and she slipped back into a scowl. You have to be born in the US to become president. What? You never had that dream of hers before. She noted your bafflement and continued. I get I was never going to be president, but it just feels weird, having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born, I was gonna have a completely different life. So different I can't even think about what it would look like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here, and had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died, and I was adopted, and the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was even if I wanted to. A heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. I feel like that too. I can't stop wondering what my life would have been like if I wasn't adopted. There are so many things that could have been different. Elizabeth watched you seriously. You're still trying to make sense of this to you and herself. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It's just something I've had in my head for a while. When it was just me and my mom, and when it was just me and Mom's in the living room, I just kind of said it. Finally, and there you go. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them, and what happened, doesn't change how I feel about our family. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I'd already figured it out a long time ago that Moms weren't our biological parents, so it wasn't news. It really doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing about the family I was firstborn in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you'd hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, I don't think you're so lucky. She bumped her shoulders against yours, playfully. Her lips tilted up at the corners.
You'll always be my little sibling.
You'll always be my little sibling. You bumped her back. You'll always be my family too. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end. We should let them come back now. They're probably wondering what's going on. It's been a long day for everyone. You gave her a nod. You can all come back now. Elizabeth called up the stairs, and you soon heard footsteps as your moms returned. Lee and Cove came back down too, poking their heads out from behind your moms. How'd the talk go? Ma gave the two of you a small smile, though you could tell she was still worried. I hope there wasn't any disownment happening down here. Hey, I hope you're alright. They came up towards you, a soft smile plastered on her face. And you're okay, Elizabeth? Elizabeth rolled her eyes and huffed a breath. You knew she wasn't used to showing her vulnerable side.
Fine.
I'm doing fine. Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her. Well, now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have fun before the night's over.
Totally!
I love the sound of that. Yeah, okay. Why not? You had the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even teased Cove for being part of it. No matter what she could have said, you'd want him to be here. The two of you had practically grown up together over the past 5 years. He's got a suggestion. It should be something we can do here in the house with everyone in the same room. You certainly remembered the show you and Lee had been working on earlier. Maybe we can do our show. A show? This is the first time we're hearing of this. I'm intrigued.
Wonderful.
It'd be amazing if you put it on for us to watch. Oh yeah? I need to see what you've cooked up. That'd be cool. You smiled at Lee, who returned the gesture while bouncing on her heels in excitement. Take some seats, and we'll get everything together. Your moms guided the chairs from around the dining table and set them in a row in the living room, where there was enough space for the show. While they did that, you and Lee quickly gathered the supplies you needed and rehearsed the plan one last time. You listened to the song you'd chosen one last time. You also took a moment to cycle through the dance moves you had planned, and you collected your instrument from your room, making sure it was ready to go. Then you made sure to grab your bicycle helmet and knee pads from your bedroom and strap them on. When the two of you returned to the living room, everyone was sitting and chatting amongst themselves while they waited. The group quieted down when you and Lee stood in front of them on your makeshift stage. Lee was buzzing quietly with the excitement beside you. You were pumped for the show. The time you and Lee put into practicing was worth it. You're ready to go. Okay, so, welcome to our show. We only came up with it today, but we promise it'll be good. Thank you for being here tonight. Your moms gave you a thumbs up and encouragement, ready for the performance. Then you nodded at Lee, that you're ready to begin. Lee took in a deep breath, waiting a few beats it took to get into the song, and started singing. The dance moves you had practiced went perfectly with the tempo of the song. You concentrated hard on hitting the right notes on your violin. You performed your stunts to go the sounds of gasps and applause from the audience. When the performance was over, Lee took your hand in hers, and the two of you bowed deeply together. Everyone gave you a round of applause and cheered some for an encore. When you straightened yourselves up, you were happy to see that even Elizabeth was clapping for you. Bravo! Bravo!
Good job.
You are so talented! Your family rose from their seats and came over to congratulate you some more. Directly. You were beaming from ear to ear. Cove was the first one to approach, stepping up to you and Lee with a smile on his face.
It's nice.
Nice job. Thank you. You're so great with those tricks, Callie. It was cool. Luckily, we had a crowd who's easily impressed. You are talking about me, aren't you? Maybe. Cove chuckled and shook his head. Your parents gushed how great everything was, and thanked you for sharing it with them. Elizabeth was complimentary in her own way, although she did describe the show as cute, which you knew it meant as kind of kiddie. You laughed it off, however, and were just happy that everyone had a nice time. In that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be part of the family you had. You looked up, noticing the sun was finally setting. You've been trying to delay the end of the day as long as possible. The evening breeze tickled your nose as you sat on your front porch, munching on the fresh watermelon slices. The snack made you happy. You picked up another slice. Even though you already had dinner, you were still delighted to make room for watermelon. You turned to look at Cove. You've both been sitting comfortably in silence for a while now. He sat next to you, close enough for your shoulders to touch. He was happily absorbed in his thoughts and his own slice of watermelon. Chuckling, you watched his face twisted in discomfort. He had to stop chewing to spit a seed into the bush. I bet I can spit a seed farther than you. You immediately shoved the majority of what was left of your watermelon slice into your mouth, just to get a seed to prove your point. As soon as you could, you sent that seed sailing into the middle of the street. Did you see that, Cove? Cove burst into laughter that slowed into a wide grin. You could tell he was equal parts surprised and impressed. Can you do it again? I didn't see where it landed. Of course I can. You popped another seed into your mouth and focused on where the last one landed. Send the seed free. You gotta do it even further than this time.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad? You had Cove chuckling again. This was taking a lot of focus to stay serious and not break into laughter yourself. I'd like to see you try. I will. Cove took in a mouthful of watermelon, face grimacing when he had the seed. Then his expression morphed into a focus socket, and he sent the seed flying, landing in a similar spot to yours. Wait, you got to do too. I need another try. He spoke before you could even comment on his non-victory. His determination got you laughing. He quickly sent another closer to where your second one landed. Seems we're evenly matched for now. Yeah, for now. For the next several minutes, you kept carving seeds from your slices and giggling at the ridiculousness of the competition. Eventually, a truce was called, and you both went back to eating the neglected watermelon flesh. Wonder have another slice after this one. That's your third already. Is that bad? It tastes really good. Unable to resist, you know the mostly finished slice out of his hand. Hey! There's no chance of saving it. He was really unprepared to defend it. The watermelon slice slapped onto the ground, accompanied by a fit of your laughter.
Seriously?
What was that for? There wasn't much left, and you wanted another anyway. Really? He shook at your logic, but there was only amusement in his eyes. It was pretty funny. The two of you were able to smile together again, and he did take that fourth piece. A little while later, Cove flinched, making a confused sound. He slowly put his current slice down on the plate next to him. Are you okay? Yeah. He stood up, tilted back to look at the sky. His feet took him to the middle of the street. Did you notice anything? What do you mean?
Huh.
I thought I felt a raindrop. Sun's still out. You immediately put your watermelon slice. You immediately put down your watermelon slice and hopped off your front step. Immediately, you felt a tap of water on the crown of your head, making you yell. You're right! Cove was still staring up at the sky as you watched as he began blinking more rapidly. When he finally turned in your direction, he was bemused. It's a sun shower! Being attacked by dogs. And my cookie. I pay dogs as well. It seemed crazy, but soon you couldn't avoid the drops that began increasing into a light shower. Moving with laughter, Cove kicked off his shoes and ran towards his front door, and began to revel in the moment. You're excited. You close your eyes and threw back your head, letting the rain shower over you. The cold drops felt so right after the warmth of the day. Feeling energized, you ran over to Cove and laughed at how soaked he already was. Not that he cared or anything, because he was busy spinning in the middle of the street. Following his lead, you spun yourself until you were dizzy. Just as suddenly the sprinkling started, it stopped, leaving you dripping with the smell of wet asphalt and soil tickling your nose. Cove caught your eyes, running his hand through his wet hair, combing it back. He frowned. It's over. The drops of rain clinging to his face could almost have been mistaken for tears. He sounded that disappointed. I wish it lasted longer. Even if it was for a few more minutes. And then a few more on top of that. He looked at you with such enthusiasm that you couldn't help but chuckle. You then looked over at your door and sighed. You knew Matt wasn't going to be happy to see you trailing water into the house. He rubbed his arm awkwardly. He must have been thinking the same thing, because he watched you sympathetically.
It's okay.
You can drive up in my house, if you want. My parents don't mind. You're the sweetest guy I know. Thanks. It's not a big deal. It is. I could already hear my ma's cries over my wet footsteps being all over the halls. Yeah, it would be bad to put a dampener on the day. He chuckled at his little pun. Cove led you inside, and you stayed close to him. We have a ton of spare towels. I just gotta dig them out of the hall closet. I think I'm gonna need to borrow some clothes from you too. Cove didn't seem to have any of the towels yet, but he came back into eye shot, so you could see him stare at you flatly and roll his eyes. Ha ha. Not joking, it would be nice to borrow a shirt. He raised his eyebrow and the thoughtful expression appeared on his face.
Oh.
Oh. I'm just gonna dry my stuff off, but I guess that'd be okay for you. I'll get something. Thanks, Cove. You hush. With that, Cove disappeared and returned in no time with towels in hands, plus what seemed to be one of his pajama shirts. It was bright pink with a dark brown seashell pattern over it. Very him. What'd I just say? Shush! I also need to brush your ears and tails. Good time. Here, I hope that works. Thanks! You accepted a towel in the shop, wrapped the cloth around your neck temporarily, and took a trip to his bathroom to change. The shirt was very old, but soft. Very soft. You already felt more comfortable just thinking about having it on instead of your current damp attire. You left your shirt over the shower curtain rods to dry, and patted yourself down with the towel and slipped Cove's shirt on. You wrapped your arms around your torso. The change didn't completely fix your predicament, but it was definitely an improvement. Since you were lucky enough to be close in size to Cove, it fit you comfortably. Not wanting to keep Cove waiting, you promptly returned to the living room. He looked up to greet you after hearing you come back down the hall. How'd it go? Is it good? Uh-huh. Thank you for it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Just remember to give it back sometime. A certain call both of your attentions. I thought I heard voices. Kyra's mom strolled into view with a curious grin. What happened here? You're both wet. Hilda's sun shower. Badass. Kyra smiled at his parent. We came inside to dry off. My moms don't want me going into my house when I'm wet.
Right.
So I told Kyra to come back here. That was very sweet of you, baby. She ruffled Cove's wet hair and laughed at the drops of water that shook off. No light came to Kyra's eyes.
What do you think?
I have an idea. Why don't we go for a drive? It has to be standing around the house, and you'll air dry in no time. Cove only offered a shrug and a bent smile to his mom. He looked at you for a real answer. Yeah, let's do it. Fun, this'll be good. Kyra pulled out her cell phone from her pocket to call your moms. They talked numbers early in the summer.
See you soon.
Head on to the garage. I'll meet you there in just a minute. Sorry, my mom can push you. She has an idea in her head, and that's what she does. That's okay. Thanks for letting me come. I didn't do anything. That wasn't true at all. But you let me get away with that. Come on. Cove led you to the car, and Kyra wasn't far behind. Okay, get in the back, you two. Once the three of you were situated inside, Kyra started driving and drove out to the residential area. When she hit a main road, the car sped up and she rolled back the windows down all the way. Hey! Kyra started laughing as he kept trying in vain to keep his hair from flying into his face too much. Meanwhile, you closed your eyes as the wind whipped against your wet clothes. I said this drive was going to be good for getting air dried. Yeah, but I didn't agree to this much air. Kyra tried pressing the window button, but nothing happened. His eyebrows furrowed in frustration.
No way!
You disabled the bag! Sorry, can't hear you. Wait, that's the thing you can do in cars? Smiling deviously, Kyra turned on the radio and turned it up to be heard over the wind. You danced in your seat to the music. You recognized the song immediately, mouthing along to the words and moving about to the beat. Felt refreshing. Cove shook his head at you until he cracked a half smile. He relaxed and bobbed his head a little to the beat of the song himself. Then, something stuck to the side of your leg. Several papers were freed from under the car seats and were blown about. Ah! Oh, they can't go out the windows. Cove began haphazardly reaching around the space to try and get all back under wraps. Amused, you helped. Mom, close the windows! Kyra offered no response other than a chuckle. She just kept driving. Cove snatched several of the papers out of the air, and you called the others, preventing most of them from flying out of the window on your side. You showed Cove your collection while grinning widely. I think we got pretty much all of them. You figured if they were sitting out in the back of the car, they couldn't be important enough to be upset about. But Cove continued to look annoyed. Your smile started to slip, and his expression softened. I hope so. Thanks for helping. The sun set completely, and at that, Kyra rolled up the windows. Cove let out a big sigh and released the random bits of paper he had in his fists. My mom is crazy. He ran a hand through his windblown hair and laughed with a bit of expiration. You felt good. The evening had really turned out to be more interesting than you expected. Grinning, you were happy with your odds, with whatever else happened next. Cove watched you with interest until his focus was taken by a new comment from his mom. I bet you're not feeling damp anymore. No, but I feel tricked. You sided with Kyra. She did say she was taking us on a drive to air out, and that's what happened. Precisely, Callie. Kyra continued driving. The radio volume was adjusted for the closed windows, and everyone was sitting more comfortably. Kyra lowered the sound even more after pulling into a red light. She took a chance to turn around, and you caught her coy smirk.
So?
Does anyone know what we drove past during the dry cycle? I'm not sure I want to. A movie theater. Okay, most places have one somewhere. It isn't that late, you know. We could probably still catch a show. Really, Mom? We don't even know what would be playing. That's what makes it fun. I want to see a movie. Both of you? He seemed hesitant. You gave him a smile and Cove eased up a bit. Aw, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating impulsive behavior every day. But it's important to seize every moment when you can. You might never have another night like this. And don't worry, Callie. I said I'd watch you over for the night, not just 10 minutes or so. I put your parents in on the loop about hitting movies as soon as... I'll put your parents in the loop about hitting the movies as soon as we get there.
That's,
I didn't bring any shoes. It doesn't matter. How am I gonna go inside barefoot? We'll sneak through. Quick. No one will notice. You can do it just this once. You imagine you'll see excitedly that this was going to happen. Kyra was right. You never got to do stuff like this. Kyra drove into the theater parking lot and shut the engine off. With the unbuckling of her seatbelt, she ushered you and Cove out. Despite being hesitant to leave, once outside, Cove burst into a sprint towards the cinema. You hurried behind, but you figured the cold tarmac on his bare feet was what was fueling him on ahead. Inside, you noticed there were no lines, while the current shows had already started. Kyra paid no mind and strode up to the counter with some words of encouragement. A third of running time is ads these days. You haven't missed anything. Meanwhile, Cove stood next to you awkwardly. He shifted from one foot to the other and constantly kept looking around. His shady behavior would have made him much more likely to get caught than standing still would have. If there were people around to notice, really. That's pretty goofy. You offered him your shoes. He already let you borrow something of his. I can give you my shoes. His eyebrows rose at the offer, then his expression softened into an appeased smile. That's really nice, but I think we'll get caught for sure if we started changing shoes in the middle of the lobby. Alright. Flexing a sigh of relief out of you, Kyra returned with the tickets in hand. He quickly handed you and Cove to the showing room. I'm so sorry for the little hiccup, but hold on, we've almost made it home free. Once we sit down, it'll be smooth sailing. Lights are already off in the showing room, but the movie hadn't started yet. The upcoming movie trailers were still playing. Yes! Even her volume in a hush tone, Kyra couldn't help but burst with excitement over your luck. You followed her down the walkway until she spotted open seats in the little area of the theatre. Kyra pointed at the seats, looking over her shoulder at you and Cove, waiting for input. Cove nodded and you decided to give her a thumbs up, and she led the way. When you reached your seats, Kyra sighed contentedly. Cove gave a sigh of his own and lifted his feet to sit cross-legged instead of keeping them down on the floor. Then he leaned over and whispered to you. You have any idea what the movie is? No, I didn't have the name or anything when your mom bought the tickets. Oh boy. After a couple more previews, the main event began. It dawned on you quickly that this was a horror film, one about a group of students being haunted by dangerous ghosts. You were psyched. Going in, you weren't sure what to expect, but this was a fantastic surprise. You hoped it turned out to be good and scary. Glancing over at Cove, you noticed he looked less than thrilled with the movie. He bit down on his bottom lip and stared at the screen with trembling eyes. Cove had never been a fan of ghosts or intentionally frightening things. That was something you learned about him early on. You grabbed his hand. Your fingers wrapped tight around his, and he jumped slightly with the unexpected touch. But his expression softened when he peeked at you out the corner of his eyes. He gave your hand a squeeze to silently voice support. That made you feel good. Sometimes the other people in the theatre screamed or jeered or clapped depending on what was happening. Your heart was pounding in your chest when the movie finally came to an end. The main character resolved the hauntings, but in the dark conclusion they didn't make it out alive. You stayed till the credits roll and for the theatre to clear out. Then it was time to head back to the car. Both you and Cove took the same seats in the back of the car again. Even though it was late, Kyra was excluding an upbeat, cheerful energy. What a great flick!
I guess.
It wasn't so bad in the end. You enjoyed it, baby? No, I mean, it's hard to explain. I get really intense, and I guess it's the point of horror stuff. But I kind of don't want to have it feel like that. Now it's all over, though. It was sort of cool to do.
Fantastic.
That's so great. Kelly, how are you feeling? It was awesome! Kyra smiled at that. I still can't believe how they died. It's nice when things aren't all obvious. You don't really know how it will end until you see it. But I wanted it to go better. I loved how it all fell apart when it seemed like things were going to be okay. I thought it was fit when... I thought it fit what they were going for. That's true. You and Cove spent the rest of the car ride absorbed in conversation about the movie. So, who's hungry? Just my own manners. You were surprised when you realized Kyra didn't drive you home, but to a drive-through burger restaurant instead. Yeah! That's the spirit. Get whatever you want. Fucking everything. Hang on, just gotta order the entire menu. Again. Is that alright?
Of course.
That's A-okay. Kyra was tickled by the size of your list and had no disapproval over it. Kyra pulled up to the window and ordered what you asked for first, then decided to order one of everything on the value menu. Whoa, what are you gonna do with all that? Eat it?
Really?
The whole menu? Even after Callie food most of that already. That's right. There are only maybe 10 things on it, and they're about $1 each. I can swing it. And besides, whatever we don't finish, I'm gonna feed to your dad. He'll be in heaven. Cove sighed affectionately at his mother's antics. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're quite welcome. A few minutes later, Kyra exchanged her money for multiple bags of food, which she quickly tossed to you both in the back seat. She then drove off into the night. What? Can you pass me something? What should I grab? Surprise me. He chose one of the wrapped sandwiches and handed it to her. You had no idea if it was a burger or something else.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Accepting this was what was happening, Cove shrugged and started pulling food out of the bags for himself. Cove ended up with some onion rings, and he happily munched on them. You made sure to grab something you liked. You weren't even questioning Kyra's crazy ride anymore. The adventure continued, and you were so preoccupied in the back that you almost didn't realize the car had stopped. Kyra turned to look over her shoulder. Okay, party people. It seems that we've reached the end of the road. Confused, you checked out the window and saw nothing except an empty road ahead. Then you noticed it, the not leaving sign. Kyra took you through the entire town. What are we doing here? Kyra turned the car around and parked it alongside the road. I think you both could use a break to stretch your legs. I doubt anyone's gonna come through here at the town tonight. Besides, I need to make a call, so go on. Cove shook his head and got out the car without a fight. You followed Cove. You got out and called up to Cove. He was busy looking at the stars and stretching his arms while he strolled about. You thought being there was exciting. You were delighted with the wide open sky above and the unobstructed view of the landscape around. It was freeing. It's amazing. We're all the way out here. Cove smiled, glancing from the stars to you. Shortly after, you noticed Cove's expression changed. His eyebrows furrowed. And it seemed like he was thinking hard about what he wanted to say next.
So sorry.
Ellie, I'm really sorry for my mom being crazy tonight. She isn't always like this. Seriously. Why is she being like this now? I think she feels like she has to get out there and do things with me while she can. And she wants to make the time memorable. The visit has been really different than the others, and it didn't start off good. Think about how Kyra's trip began this summer. You could understand why Cove was thinking along those lines. You probably wanted all the trouble to be worth it in the end. She's giving you a taste of your own medicine. What? You always do whatever you want, no matter what anyone else is thinking. Now your mom is putting you through that. Kyra took a second to mull over that assessment before cracking a smile. That's not totally wrong. It's completely right. The smile grew a bit more. Went silent between the both of you. So you jumped when you heard the sound of a car door closing. Cove! Callie! You turned to see Kyra by the driver's side waving. The sight brought a smile to Cove's face, and she quickly made her way over to where you both were standing. Thanks for waiting. I didn't mind.
My baby.
How did I end up with such a polite boy? She ruffled his hair, and Cove lowered his head, accepting the compliment. You thought about how interesting it was to see how Cove interacted with his mom. She looks so tall compared to Cove, but I guess he is still a teen. And he's got a little bit more height to go. Then again, she could also be wearing heels. And perspective. Then a memory hit you. Wait, did I read the last one? Yeah. Then a memory hit you. That first summer, Cove ran away to this very spot, trying to find his way back to his mom. And now here they were, together. You said it aloud. Hey, Cove. This is where you went to try seeing her when you moved to Sunset Bird. Do you remember?
Huh?
What does that mean? Cove gave to you, and it became clear that his mom hadn't known about that adventure. You came here to see me? Kyra's eyes grew large as the words sunk fully in. I heard you wanted to visit, but no one said you ever actually tried to do it on your own. Never mind you made it all the way through the entire town. Cove hung his head in shame. Even in the dark, there was no mistaking how red his face was burning. Oh. It's alright, little man. She started rubbing his back soothingly. It's definitely too late to punish you for it. I'm just glad you ended up being fine. This is an impressive distance for such a tiny guy to travel. While Kyra spoke to him positively, there still seemed to be something sad to her tone. I hope you never feel like you have to run away again.
Sorry.
I don't want to run away anymore. Don't worry. She offered him a small smile. He laughed. He sighed in a light exasperation. Kyra let out a gasp of air. We should probably call it a night, huh? You felt disappointed that it was actually over. You had kind of hoped some other unexpected thing would pop up to keep things going. Kyra shyly smiled and gestured to the car. Quietly, you all made your way back to it. Cove naturally followed you, taking the seats nearby in the back, with the collection of the fast food bags still strewn about. Rest your head into the seat as the car roared to life. As you did, Cove leaned in to whisper,
Hey.
I can talk to your moms if they get mad about tonight for some reason. It was my mom's idea, and you didn't have a choice. This was worth it, even if they get mad. Your mouth pulled into the biggest grin, getting a laugh out of Cove. If you say so. Also, don't worry about bringing the shirt back when we get home. Just keep it. Until tomorrow? He simply shook his head. Good, you ain't gonna get it back no matter what. Cove smiled amused at you, but said nothing else. The drive home was smooth and uneventful. The radio was off completely, and you felt your eyelids getting heavy. Your head came to rest on Cove. You were too tired to keep your head up, and it felt comfortable there. Cove didn't have any issues in there. He leaned into it. You must have been exhausted too. You were happy to stay close like that. It was warm and comfortable. When you opened your eyes, you expected to still be in the car, not your bedroom. It was somehow already morning. You can't remember how you ended up there. Sitting up in bed, you thought about how last night was quite an experience. It would have almost felt like a dream if you were still wearing the shirt Cove had let you take. It definitely happened. And you were glad you got to have a spontaneous escapade this summer. We are almost done with our life step 2, and that's crazy to me. Wow. Well, I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.